more marriage advice podcast. If you haven't heard my latest marriage advice podcast, you go out to our YouTube channel, and it's called "What Happened to Your Hair," and it's about how my wife's father, my father-in-law, just really put me through the ringer. And because of that, my wife felt bad and said, "You can hunt all you want, darling." Uh, so, but as far as Minnesota hunt, what you better mute my computer. What happened to the Minnesota hunt is I went back there, spent time with my brother, got to see my mom, hunted with all my buddies, and I think we saw less than 10 deer for sure, and not a single antler. So there were no animals hurt. Well, there were some grouse hurt in that episode. So that's what happened with the Minnesota hunt. We're wrapping it up. Going to be a Fresh Tracks episode that you'll see out on Fresh Tracks Plus to start with, and then it'll roll out to YouTube after that. But it was, well, it was about other things. It wasn't about shooting a big whitetail. It was about family, about friends, about a whole bunch of things that, to me, are important reasons for why I hunt. So that's what happened there. I also did a fundraiser for my high school that we raised a bunch of money that was matched by the Midway USA Foundation, and as a result, now they have a shooting team there, which was really, really helpful. So it was a big plus. So Hoodneck says, "Hey Randy, I have big hopes this year to call a bull into my father-in-law in September in Colorado. He's never got a bull, but he is set on using a mechanical broadhead. Ooh, that's too bad. I don't want him to find out the hard way. What would you recommend, since he is my warden's dad and don't need any troubles, if you know what I mean?" Well, what I would do is I would probably go and show him some of the research, show him some of the videos, the other stuff about what happened, what can happen when a mechanical broadhead fails to develop with an elk. An elk is big. If you don't get a perfect angle, a lot of times mechanicals, if they are going to fail, they're going to fail on an elk. They won't deploy, and they'll just go right in here. They'll hit the ribs and bounce out the shoulder. Or they'll hit a rib and they won't penetrate as much. Or if they penetrate, they open so wide that you'll know instantly on TV when you see an elk that was shot with a mechanical, because you're going to get about that much penetration. And the elk runs off, and there's no good blood trail coming out this side because the arrow's still stuck in there. Elk is running off, and he moves on ways with only one lung taken out. I'm not saying this happens all the time, but I'm saying I've seen it enough that I hope that your father-in-law reconsiders and maybe goes to fixed blade broadhead. Um, so we have someone else who says, "I can't wait. Drew non-resident tag in Montana for the first time in many years. Many friends to visit in Montana also. Great. That's always fun to go on an out-of-state hunt. The thing I'm warning people is that Montana had a tough winter last year also, not maybe as bad as Wyoming. We did lose quite a few of our deer in Pronghorn. Not, no, again, not like Wyoming, not even close to Wyoming. But with that, we also were in a really bad drought in 2020 and 2021. So know that our deer numbers going into hunting season were already down. Then you get a really hard winter, and it just adds even more problems to everything. So uh, just want you to know that that's a reality of what you might get into when you come here. So, all right, now I can see some of these questions here. Have I ever hunted in Michigan? I have not, Kyle. Uh, Jim Nygaard. Jim, how you doing, buddy? I recall hunting the entire season in Minnesota and not seeing a deer. Yeah. So here's what you need to know. Jim Nygaard over here, YouTube. His dad, Alan, and my dad were buddies. They were logging in the woods together. And Jim jumps on here. He's a big hunter. Jim was older than me. I always looked up to Jim. He had a pony. He had all the cool stuff. And kind of like all of us, Jim and his brother Kenny and me and all of my brother, we all had to go out and work out in the woods. So every once in a while, Jim jumps onto these things and gives me a little bit of taste of growing up together back in Minnesota. Uh, Kavik says, finally got my muzzleloader elk tag in New Mexico. Cool. Iron sights only now. Randy, do you have any open site recommendations? I don't. Most of the people who I talk to who are really big into open sites prefer a peep site. So I'm not your guy when it comes to that. But if you can, maybe look into a peep site as something that people will get better results out of. A lot of states have went to no scopes on muzzleloaders. They've never been allowed on muzzleloaders in Idaho and Nevada. To my knowledge, I don't think maybe they're allowed in Colorado, but I don't think so. Utah just was trying to get away from them or get rid of them. New Mexico got rid of them. So see kind of a swing of the pendulum back towards anything traditional or quote unquote primitive weapons, more true to the spirit of the primitive hunt. So I wish I had a better answer for that, but I don't. So let's see. Oh, Hoodneck says, Randy, scopes are not allowed on muzzleloaders in Colorado. Thanks for that. Uh, Steve asks, Randy, is going back to the same area to start a hunt this season where you ended a hunt last season something you'd recommend? Big Bull gave me the slip last year and I want to see if it's still around. Well, that'd be a pretty good spot to I'd probably go and do it. That would of all my e-scouting that I would do. That waypoint would probably be one that I'm going to pay a lot of attention to. So let's see. Brian asks Randy, "What's the funniest elk camp mishap?" Ah, boy, that's a good one. Probably here's what it is. You ever had a French press where you put the coffee ground in there and you put hot water and then you kind of press it down and make coffee out of it? Well, I had a new camera guy who shall remain unnamed, and he saw us pouring coffee out of this French press. Well, the next morning, he's like, "Well, I'm going to get up and make some coffee for everybody." And he thought it was a coffee pot. So he fires up my stove. He puts this French press with the rubber bottom on it on my stove. And I'm laying in the tent and I can smell something burning. I'm like, what the heck is that? So I go running outside and there's a flame this tall. My French press is on fire. All that rubber is burning. And I was the end of the French press. So that's probably the biggest mishap we've had as a group. Maybe that doesn't include me, but I'll think about whether or not it includes me, or one that includes me. Logan Pritchard's on here. Logan wants to know if I'm coming back home so he can tag along on another beaver trapping session. Logan, I hope to be back there next April. All goes well. That's the hope. Chris and Kavik are asking Randy, how's your arm coming along? Well, see that right there? I'm going to show the Instagram folks first. I got this shark bite that goes like that. I'll show it to all of you over here on YouTube. So the glass went in right there, and then it came out here. So I ruined these two tendons, and I ruined the tendon that you see there's knot right here. I don't know if you can see that there, but there's a big knot right there. That's tendon used to connect to the side of my wrist or the inside of my wrist. They couldn't salvage that one. They salvaged the one that run these two fingers. I'm getting it. I'm not real good at it. But you know how the tendon they couldn't reconnect runs your wrist. So I'm sitting there and right now I feel like my wrist is moving. My brain and my muscle are like, well, that moves your wrist, but it's not moving. But I'm doing pretty darn good with it, I think. It's a bit of, I've told everyone it's a shortcut because it this big vortex. But it's numb right here. I can't feel anything there, but they say that might get back. And then the thing that I found, I had an Alaska bear in me. So about 10 days before the bear hunt, the physical therapist is like, okay, go out and shoot a little bit now, see how that's working. And as you can also see, I can prop this wrist straight up, but this one, I got to use my hand to get a lot of flex on that wrist. So uh, I go out, shoot my first set, got my Howa super light, got my new Nosler suppressor on there, I'm all excited. And my groups are like this big. Oh no. And here's what the problem is, right? When you're shooting, you don't want to put a lot of pressure. You don't want to grip the stock like this because that introduces a lot of pressures that aren't good. You want to try to keep it, with your hand and just be running that finger. And I can't bend my wrist to keep everything in line. So I got to adjust my elbow and stuff a little more. So I went home. I took one of my stocks off one of my other Howa rifles. And for the next 10 days, I did all of my home physical therapy exercises with a rifle stock. And by the time I got ready to go to Alaska, my groups were down to less than an inch. And there's a great big Alaska bear that you're going to get to see on camera that, well, we proved my arm is doing well to shoot a big old bear at 240 yards. 308, one shot right through the ribs. He made it about 40 yards. So, how's it doing? I guess it's doing pretty darn good, is what I'd answer to that question. Uh, so, uh, Billy has a question. I've been trying to solve this for so long. Billy, any thoughts on how to make conservation more appealing to folks? I wish I knew. Marcus and I have been doing Fresh Tracks Weekly. If you follow that, you know that we've been talking a lot about that and trying to figure out how do you do that? How do you make volunteering seem interesting? How do you make fundraising seem interesting or contacting your policymaker, your elected official, whoever it is? I just think about all the advocacy things and all the conservation things I've been trying to do. Just it's part of what I do every day. Like last night, I drove to Easton, Montana to go attend an open house meeting with Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. This weekend, I did a fundraiser. But for me, these are all fun. I love going there and talking to hunters, talking to people, seeing what's going on, seeing how decisions are made, trying to maybe influence the direction of that a little bit. Uh, I just wish I knew how to make it more appealing because on our content, if you watch these channels, listen to our podcast, look at all of our social stuff, you will see there are 4 principles that have to be, at least one of them, if not all 4 of them, have to be in every piece of content: information, education, conservation, and advocacy. So we have we have some videos that are just really burying the needle on stuff. Nobody watches. And then if we have an elk hunt that we don't even shoot an elk and we talk about conservation, everyone watches the video, but they skip through the part about conservation and they're like, yeah, I don't need that stuff. So I'm still trying to solve that riddle, Bill. I wish I knew. Andrew asks, is it too late to begin buying Wyoming elk points for elk and deer if you don't want to hunt a general hunt? Hmm. No, it's never too late. Just know that behind the curve a lot. There's going to be the price increase next year for your elk and pronghorn in the expensive special draw. Uh, so you still are every year. You're in the, I guess they call it the random draw. But yeah, it's random. So there's that option. Every year you're still in the drawing for that 25% tax that's in the draw. Jake asked, Randy, I know you're a big 308 fan, and I've been debating on getting one, but I'm not quite sure if it would be an adequate go-to caliber since I live in Idaho and I have to take shots 300 yards and further on out. Uh, well, yeah, I always tell people make sure whatever you have in your hand that you're comfortable with it, that you're confident in it, because that's what is really what it comes down to. 308 will perform out there past out to 300 yards easily, maybe even past that for sure. That's my farthest shot at an elk was 408 yards, I think it was. uh, and I was with 308. Anyway. So it really comes down to what you think, what you're confident in. So if you're not going to be confident in a 308, step up to something else. Someone asked, am I going to be able to bow hunt this year? Yep, I am. As weird as this sounds, when you have a wrist release, I actually am feeling very good when I'm shooting my bow. If you think about it, when your hand comes back, you're not gripping anything, you're just burying yourself in the pocket there. And so my archery shooting is way, way better than what my rifle shooting was after this injury. It seems intuitive, right? But it's not the case. Peter Wolf wants to know, Randy, what's the name of the famous chopper mittens that you wear? I destroyed mine and I need a new pair. It is Frost River Trading Company in Duluth, Minnesota. That's where I get my chopper mitts. Frost River Trading Company. Uh, Larry Ross asks, is there sound herd health science behind the decision of some states to exclude spike elk hunting? Or is not harvesting spikes simply a social hunter preference thing? You're going to get all kinds of debates about this. Yes, it is a social preference thing. But in Montana, most of our units, you can't hunt spikes. And the idea being that you can't hunt spikes, and 2.5-year-olds will become what we call rag, 4 or 5. And if they can make it through that first year and a half, they get a lot smarter. So your recruitment of older bulls into the population gets better if you get them past that spike year. So I can't say that I've got a study to point you to that confirms that, but anyhow, that's what I've been told. Um, let's see. Brian asks, have I ever hunted elk in Unit 9 in Arizona? Yep, I have. The late season tag before. Brian asks, how much of an advantage do you think staying in the backcountry gives you a higher point Colorado archery unit? For archery in Colorado, early in the season, it might give you a pretty good advantage if you're in the right spot, but I prefer to be more mobile. So I usually don't do that, but it might give you an advantage. Steve asks, would you agree that Nevada is one of the harder states to draw? Yes. Any suggestions as to how unsolved their draw system riddle? Apply for weapons types that are not rifle. Archery and muzzleloader, your odds are way, way better. Way better. So that's how I do it. I make my first 3 or 4 choices really hard because in Nevada they look at all 5 choices before they go into the next person. So I make my 5th choice something really, really easy. Well, in, in Nevada terms, easy, right? There's never anything really easy in Nevada. But Joshua asks, "Are you Marcus and Mike? You, Marcus, and Michael need to come to the east and try tracking deer in the northeast." Yeah, we probably do, but we focus in Western hunting. It's what when you do content, you do the sponsors are like, you got you to do the Western public land self-guided stuff. We sponsor other groups to do whitetail, other groups to do hogs or bears or whatever. So we kind of stay in our own lane. Andrew asked, talking about dollar allocation on a limited budget, would you do the random Wyoming draw plus the Idaho draw each year, or Wyoming random draw and buy points there? The latter. I would do the Wyoming random draw and I'd buy points there because in Idaho, you have to buy this really expensive non-refundable license. Ouch. Speaking of which, any of you folks from Idaho know when they're going to draw? They're supposed to draw today, but that's what everyone told me. Maybe it's tomorrow, but everyone says by Friday they'll draw. I don't know if that's the case. I hope so. But I guess we'll see. If they don't draw by Friday, they don't draw by Friday. Hey, Sean, how are you doing? As a former Nevada resident, someone who still knows a few good folks out here, where does one go in Nevada to get involved in advocacy with the legislature and other? There's some good groups out there. The Nevada Bighorns Unlimited. Uh, there's local chapters of the Elk Foundation. There's local chapters of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. All of them kind of keep you updated on what's going on in Nevada. And I'd sign up for one of their mailing lists, and they'll probably get you pretty well connected to at least keep you. Let's see. Will's Gone Walkabout. I've recently moved to Montana. I'm trying to absorb as much knowledge as I can about the environment and recommend a resource for mentors. Uh, it's a good question. I would go attend all the meetings, just one of my parts that is. I have a forum called hunttalk.com. There's a lot of Montana guys out there, and if you go out there and you in a forum or whatever, you don't want to go and say, "Hey, can you tell me point A or B?" Go there, become a member, offer something like, "Hey, I can help with this," and just be part of the community before you start asking everybody to help you. That's a place. YouTube has tons and tons of content. Um, we do applications and all kinds of other stuff about drawing in Montana. We do use videos here on our channel. So uh, hopefully that helps. Well, let's see. Did I draw any New Mexico hunts this year? No New Mexico hunts for me this year. Wow. Permafrost says I drew 5 tags, 3 first choice and 2 second choices. I feel like I overdid it this year. Permafrost, there's no such thing as overdoing it when it comes to tags, okay? Go hunt them. Or if you can't hunt them all, find what states you can turn a tag back in and go do that. Turn some back and give it your best effort. But that's how some of those, you know, some of those units or some of those years go. You draw a bunch of units you didn't expect, and you end up with too much, too much of a good thing. I guess they say that. I don't subscribe to the idea that it's too much of a good thing. I hope you have a great hunt. Someone says, "Have you hunted Unit 20 in Wyoming for pronghorn?" I have not. That's a unit I've not hunted. Owen says, "I'm doing Colorado for my first elk hunt, looking for a good backcountry communications device. Any recommendations?" Yeah, Zoleo or InReach. You're not going to have service in a lot of those places, so you're going to want one of those satellite-based communication devices. Um, Billy says, "Randy, the grouse might have a chance this year, being your arm has you at a disadvantage." Maybe. Uh, so, uh, Sean asked non-hunt specific question because Sean knows, and those of you who follow along know I'm not going to answer go here or this unit. We don't put in our stuff or any of that. But he said, "Any progress on Miss Newberg in the studio kitchen?" Zero progress on that. I need to find the right way to make her lasagna. All right, Sean. I'm going to tell her that. Hopefully, she'll cave in a little bit, and we'll get some of that done. Austin says, "Hey, Randy, thanks for all you do." Thank you, Austin. Appreciate all you supporting us. I drew a second choice archery Colorado elk tag. This is my first elk hunt. Any advice on a first elk hunt? Hunting high pressure units and a unit with a lot of rows. Ooh, that's that's probably why you can get it as a second choice. A lot of pressure and a lot of rows. Those are not a good combination. Go and find those places where the elk are. Those are that's exactly what I want. There's a lot of hunting pressure and a lot of roads. So, if I was doing my e-scouting, I'd say, all right, where are the roads? And I always try to get a mile from a road, but if there's lots of roads, maybe you can't get that far away. But that would be my primary thing. Whether it's rifle, whether it's archery, whether it's muzzle loader, when there are that many roads, I try to get to the places where there aren't any roads. Hope that things work out. But there's part of the reason that it was a leftover tag, probably because how much hunting pressure there is. So look at all these folks over here on Instagram. I, I don't I don't know how to do this, folks. This is such a weird thing for me. A lot of you probably in the Instagram folks, you get to see the screen there behind the scenes. Here's our speaker right here. Uh, I wish I knew how to do Instagram, but I don't. So I'm giving my best shot. So hang in there with me. Let's see. Uh, Single cat. If you were to buy property in any of the Western states due to an inheritance windfall, quotation mark, modest, what state would have the best hunting opportunities for a resident? If you know, Wyoming treats their residents better than any other Western state. I don't know how else to say it. I will tell you this: if my wife wasn't so addicted to walleye fishing, weren't so self-controlled by Montana, this operation would probably be based somewhere in Wyoming. That's a fact. I can't deny that Wyoming treats their residents better than any other state. So Ryan Tanner says, Randy, drew Southeast Alaska bear tag next spring. We plan to replicate the Marcus Michael approach with pack rafts. Any advice on what to look for on the shorelines to increase bear sightings and opportunities? Well, low tide, you're going to see more bears than at high tide. So make sure you're out there during low tide period. Look if you use pack rafts like the alpaca rafts that we use. Look for the places where maybe you can go back there and the boats can't get in there at lower tides. But you can get in there. Then you won't have any pressure. Look for the places where estuaries with creeks come out. And it may not be a really big estuary. It might be a little creek, but there's always these areas where the canopy is open a little bit, so you get this green grass growing along the shoreline, along the bank of the creek. Those I look for. You'll see it from the bear hunt this year at low tide. We filmed a really big. They're just rolling rocks, eating whatever little urchins were there at low tide. Great stuff. Great chance to find a bear oblivious. Just like, discover as much as you can. Have them land in a place where it's that somebody is able to compete with you. Because there will be competition. You'd be a way to get away. Let's see. Chris asks, any calling tips for mid to late September elk? Yeah, be aggressive. Call a lot. Andrew asks, do I use a straight or angled spotter? We'll be using a mixture with lessons from the Jeep, hiking at Pronghorn, and backcountry. Well, if you're going to be glassing uphill a lot, you want an angled spotter, right? Because they're up there, you can look down here and not have to be dry down in there. Now, if you're glassing on flat ground, it probably doesn't matter. Like pronghorn hunting, the beauty of a straight one is you kind of line it up like you do a rifle. So I used to be a straight spotter kind of guy. I've now kind of converted to an angled. I've kind of got the hang of, okay, here's where it lines up, and go from there. So, Jim asks, have I ever hunted antelope in Unit 48 in Wyoming? I drew that this year. No, Jim, I've not hunted pronghorn. Sean says, since you love to hunt burns, how long do you wait after a burn until you hunt that area? A year, 2 years? Surely within 2 years. How old is too old for a burn area? As quick as it's no longer the newest burn in the unit, then it's too old. I always hunt the newest burn in my hunting area. Have I ever hunted antelope in southern Idaho in Unit 46? No, I've never drawn a pronghorn tag in Idaho. Let's see. Austin says, currently he's got a map more from the channel. I'll talk about yes, up 101 before season. Yeah, I'm going to be scouting on that. Uh, oh, Matthew just reminded me. I got to tell everyone, we are doing a sweepstakes. And if you want to come hunting with me in Nevada in August of this year, there's 3 ways you can do it. But you got to use promo code Randy. You go out to Go Hunt and you sign up for Insider. When you said Insider, that reminded me also. You use Randy when you sign up. They put $50 of credit in the gear shop, and you're going to get 25 entries in the hunt. Then you buy something in your gear shop and you can promote. They're going to give you a discount on all regular price items, and for every $10 you spend, you get a point, you get an entry. And then outdoor class, another thing that we are, I guess, bringing in as part of the goal of this sweepstakes. For outdoor class, if you sign up using Randy, they're going to give you a 20% discount, and you can get 15 entries into the hunt. But it only runs through June entries into the contest. It only runs through June 30th of this year. If you go to outdoorclass.com, they have and also out on Go Hunt. They have all the details. There's all kinds of fine print that you got. I could be one of those guys who ride, uh, read really fast, but go out there and check it out. But I would love to take one of you on that hunt. That would be a ton of fun. I love hunting pronghorn. We've done our pronghorn course out there on Outdoor Class, along with Corey Jacobson's University of Elk Hunting. Remy Warren's done a mule deer one. We just about got his other mule deer one ready to go. Hank Shaw, John Barklow, Jamie Keegan, Mark Livesey is coming out pretty soon. Bree, her cooking course just came out. So anyhow, Outdoor Class or Go Hunt, use promo code Randy. It's going to get you in that sweepstakes. But you got to act before June 30th. So you got 2 days. Someone just asked, why doesn't promo code Randy work at Home Depot? I don't know. I need to go talk to those folks. Randy, how long at best do you think the Wyoming deer and pronghorn birds can make a recovery after such a harsh winter? Well, assuming we don't have more harsh winters and we don't have a drought. If you think about it, we lost most of the fawns born in 2022. They didn't. A lot of the does will abort their fawns. So we won't have very many fawns born this spring in 2023. So our first good fawn crop is going to be 2024. And for pronghorn, we want them to be at least 3 years old. With mule deer, probably 4 years old. So born in 24, so 1 year old in 25, 2 years old in 26. By 2027, you might be seeing some return of pronghorn age class and numbers. By 2028, maybe with mule deer, certainly by 2029. And that assumes we don't end up with some more killer winters and some big droughts that cause big problems. So, don't know if that helps or not. Let's see. Pro asks, could Colorado mitigate point creep by making you spend points no matter how a license is obtained? Yes. Jackpot. That's what I've always said. Colorado, any state that wants to burn through these point creeping problems, if you get a tag, I don't care if you win it in the lottery, you draw first choice, second choice, third choice, you buy a leftover, you get a landowner tag, whatever it is, if you're going hunting with that, you're that it knocks up that whole point scheme. So I like that idea. Antonio asks, have I ever hunted South America, more specifically Argentina? I have not. Ryan asks, do you find yourself typically hunting from a trailhead, going off trail, or parking on the side of the road at the start? That's mostly what I do anymore, right? I have a base camp, drive to a trailhead, come from there. Not all the time, but that's my most common thing I do. And yeah, sometimes we park at a trailhead and we walk, half, 3/4 of a mile further down the road, and bushwhack up. Everyone thinks we're at this trailhead over on this side of the road. We're on that side of it. So if you see my vehicle there, that doesn't mean that I'm necessarily. Uh, Decoys are now decoy for a muzzleloader hunt for uh, pronghorn. Decoys are not for pronghorn muzzleloader during the rut and archery elk during the rut. Certainly not for pronghorn when there's a muzzleloader season going on. Never use decoy in any type of firearm season, whether rifle or muzzleloader. During archery elk, I wish I could tell you that I use decoys, here, but I'm sure they work. A lot of guys do. Pro says, how do we enter the sweepstakes if we already have a go hunt and outdoor class? Dang, I wish I had an answer to that. Uh, they said that if you're already going to buy product, you every $10 you spend in the gear shop using promo code, they'll give you another entry. And then there's a way to get a free entry. So I don't know how to, but you got to go out to the website, follow all the trails, and it'll tell you how to get one free entry. Let's see. Steven, oh, and for those who already are members of those and use my promo code, thank you a ton. Steven says, first week of rifle season in Montana last year, there was over a foot of snow. Yes, and I found one set of tracks that wasn't leaving the country. Did all the elk leave, or do you think the bulls stayed? Most cows and calves would have got out of their opinion. I was up there. The bulls probably stayed. It takes a lot more foot of snow to get away from them. So, John asks, have I ever hunted Unit 215 in Montana for elk? I have not. Idaho Outdoor says, "Hey Randy, I'm watching this while I'm ground squirrel hunting." That's cool. Oh, I gotta love that. I wish I could hear you shooting at those little buggers. Point, 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 point. Let's see. Yannick says, first out of state cow elk coming down all the way from Quebec, Canada to Wyoming, Unit 24. Would you rather hunt the archery stamp period in September or hunt the rifle in November for better success? For better success, you're going to want to hunt the rifle season. Uh, actually, cow elk hunting with a bow can be pretty hard. So, uh, yeah, I'd come down for the rifle season if I'm coming that far. Uh, let's see. Idaho Outdoor says, I've already gotten 3 of those ground squirrels. Oh, I love it. Kevin says, hi, Randy. I live in Arizona and have 12 bonus points for elk. Ooh, you're in the running. What unit would you recommend for the early rifle hunt to tag a big hen? Well, you can kind of look at the draw odds and see which units are the most demand and pick one of them. Well, you get 2 choices, right? There's early rifle seasons. I'm going to start Unit 1, Unit 27, Unit 23, Unit 3B, Unit 9, Unit 10. Yeah, any of those. That's the beauty of Arizona. There are no bad hunts, really. Especially if you somehow do one of the early rifle hunts, you have a chance for big. So pick the one that's got your best odds and fits your calendar date. Go. So Cody says, late to the party. Anyone else have an audio issue? So far, no one said that they had an audio issue. So hope that no one has. Let's see. The Hunting Stories podcast. Hey, Randy, I started hunting because of you. Oh, now I'm going to get in trouble. Now I have a podcast of just hunters telling their favorite stories. Would you be interested in coming on and sharing? Yeah, I probably would. Uh, I'll try to remember to figure out how to look you up. All right. Someone asked a question over here. Adam Johnson. Hey, Randy, are you going to get to hunt with Dick Ferguson again? I don't know if I am. Dick, he drew a Wyoming elk tag yesterday. I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to do that. Probably not, but maybe we'll get. We're definitely going to try to go beaver hunting next year. Uh, let's see. Ryan asked for archery elk. Do you usually go into areas fall, get into elk, or do you have to try to glass from the roads or small hikes? Out before. No, for archery elk, I do a lot of scouting because I know that the cows are looking for the best food. So if they're looking for the best food, where can I find that best food? Because where I find cattle, that's where I'm going to find bulls. Archery. So on my map, if you got my go hunt scouting strategies, I have a whole bunch of different places that I think will have good food, and those are the places I go check, and I just do a lot of calling, a lot of calling, a lot of calling. And hopefully, you get a response. As my buddy Cody Jacobson says, well, if they don't respond, heck, they want to talk to them anyhow. I'll come back and talk to them next time. There's a lot of static on YouTube Live. Hmm. Wonder where that is. Oh, no. I got this mic right here. I'm going to have to stand right here. People are going to be like, Randy, turn the microphone out there, man. Bubble. Ooh, bubble. It's work. One of the things better. Uh, Mbot says, hey, Randy, have you had any Portland pizza lately? Nope. I haven't had any pizza since that's what happened. Let me just right over here. See if that's problematic. It's probably going to be on the screen. But anyhow, what happened here is food poisoning from a pizza in Portland. Moral of the story: don't go to Portland if you don't have to. And you have to. Richard says, Randy, have you ever used a 270 or a 270 Winchester with a 130 grain bullet on elk? I've not. I've shot bulls with a 270, and all 5 of them I was using 150 grain. So, uh, that's, yeah, not 100, 150. Go do it. Uh, so, what else do we got? Oh, I'm supposed to be somewhere in 15 minutes. I have to, they'll find me. I probably should have cut this off. So, we're gonna start doing some e-scouting videos. I got that coming up. We're gonna release the Fresh Tracks Plus season, out on Fresh Tracks Plus for those of you who are. Uh, Everything gets filmed a year in advance, right? And so we have to roll it out. So that's coming out in August. We're gonna have a sweepstakes with our Elk Foundation. It'll probably be in September and October. So if you're wanting to become a member, upgrade your membership, renew your membership, that'd be a great time to do that with us. Yeah. A lot of other fun stuff that we do this time of year. At our office, we have application season, which runs till about the middle of May. Then we got research season, which based on the tags we got, we start doing e-scouting and researching and everything else. And then come mid-August, we got hunting season. We're out in the field taking advantage of all that research that we've done. Hopefully this year it all pays off. Dano says, "Hey Randy, first time elk hunt, Southeast British Columbia, rifle, call or glass?" Ooh, 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 call. You can glass too, but you're gonna have a lot of luck call. I call non-stop. Maybe non-stop. I'd call a lot. That's for sure. Let's see what else we got for questions here. Let me grab it. See if I can grab it off Instagram. I don't know how to do this. I am demonstrating my lack of talent here by trying to sort through all this stuff. Uh, it's Nick says the static on Instagram sounds more like a fan or air conditioning in the room background. I bet you it's my computer fan that's running. That's probably what you're hearing. It's hot in here. It's summertime. I got the door closed because well we got the studio. We don't want a bunch of noise in here, so it is warm. Someone wants to know about cartridges for Pronghorn. Think about that. I always say anything 243 on up to however far you can shoot after it, or however big of a cartridge you can shoot after it. Uh, so some people would say, no, you can go down to 250. Yeah, probably can. Um, I don't get too worked up about it. I just say, go do it. You know, antelope aren't real im- impressive, strong animals. So just pick what's accurate. Yeah. Roy says, how soon do you start scouting for pronghorn? Right now is not too soon for pronghorn. Like I say in my outdoor class about pronghorn, I got a whole class out there on it. Very territorial, very habitual. So if you go and scout for pronghorn in June and July, they're going to be there in August and September. Not maybe in that exact little drainage or on that little ridge, but they're going to be within about 2 miles. So if I was at a pronghorn tag, I wouldn't hesitate to go scouting right now. Uh, if I didn't have so many things going on, I'd be out scouting my Utah pronghorn tag, but I'm just too booked. Uh, Ryan asks, Randy, you know if the Montana pronghorn results come out before the block management area guide? I don't know that for sure. Every year it's right about the same time. So I wish I could tell you. Hoodneck says, Randy, love the content. Fresh Tracks and Elk 101 are the best. Oh, leave Remy out either. No, Remy is really a great guy. So, thanks, really appreciate it. Idaho Outdoors says I'm up to 4 ground squirrels. Now I love the live update. Oh, always in Wyoming, stop by and do a live stream and I'll buy it. All right, you got a deal there. Uh, then- oh, let's see. Here's one. Beagle country. Thinking about antelope hunt next year. I was thinking Nebraska maybe. Any public advice? Now, I've never hunted Nebraska for anything. Pronghorn, deer, nothing. So I wish I had some better advice. I wish I had some advice. I have no advice on Nebraska though. go there and try it. Let us know how it goes. Uh, you know, going to it is as much fun as anything. Jay says, Randy, will you ever hunt pronghorn in Montana again? I'd love to try. If they give me a tag, I've grown more limited entry bull tag in Montana in the last 10 years than I have pronghorn. Go figure. Brian asks again. I think I talked about this earlier. Have you hunted human time? Yep, I have, Brian, in Arizona. Nate asks, what's my favorite Nosler round? Hmm. Well, it depends on what cartridge I'm shooting, what animal I'm hunting, and what I think the shot distance will be. We're getting ready to launch a whole series. I think there's 12 videos on Nosler. It's called Bullets, Bucks, and Ballistics. And or Bulls, Bullets, and Ballistics. And it talks about all these kind of things. Why? For certain animals or certain shot situations or certain distances, you might want the E-tip or you might want the partition or the AccuBond or the long range AccuBond. Uh, I use all of them and I've had great success with all of them. Let's see. The Real Gear Hunter. Randy, you have any tips for boots on the ground scouting for elk? What should you look for to find out if you are using a certain spot during rifle season when it's still June? So a lot of times you can do boots on the ground. You can go look for rugs, look for old wallows, but those usually aren't things that you do in rifle season. Those would be more tactics and strategies that pay off in archery season. So if you're a rifle hunter, you're probably going to look for where are the doors, where are the gates, where's the access not going to be, where are the places going to be that you aren't going to have a lot of hunting pressure, stuff like this. Um, so I don't spend a lot of time doing boots on the ground scouting for elk this time of year because in June or July, their needs are way different than they are in October when rifle season starts. So they're going to be in a completely different location. When I'm there, it's mostly just trying to learn the landscape, the roads, the hunting pressure, stuff like that. So, let's see. Have you ever paid for a pronghorn tag or hunted private land and paid? They seem to be getting harder to draw everywhere. Yes, I have. I'm in New Mexico, some places, that's the only way you're going to do it. Uh, so, in fact, first season of On Your Own Adventures, shot a really nice pronghorn and with those people. It's one of the options in New Mexico. My wife had bought me that as a present, not knowing we were going to start a TV show. So, yeah, I've done it. Uh, it's tough. It's expensive. It's been quite a while since I've done it, but I have. Uh, hey, Randy, looking for information on the best book or author to learn about elk. Corey Jacobson's University of Elk Hunting out on Outdoor Class is probably the best place. But if you want a book, the best book, the Elk Bible, as I call it, is by Jackpot Thomas. It's called Elk and Elk Ecology. So, uh, let's see. Were there dilly bars this year at the Big Sky Total Archery Challenge? Yes, I gave Daniel. I gave away 300 of them. Were you not there? Did you not get one? I'm sorry. Come on, kids. People were like, I knew how to find you, Randy. I just followed this trip to you guys. So, yeah, there were a lot of them. Uh, Next year we'll do the same thing. If you haven't been there, go to every year they have a total archery challenge shoot. And even if you don't get a chance to shoot, there's a lot of fun stuff going on. I'm always there with my freezer full of dilly bars, and I give away 300, 400 dilly bars and get a hold of it. So it's getting close to when we're going to wrap up. Hopefully, we get a few more questions on Instagram or over here on YouTube. But if you want to do this sweepstakes that we're giving away, you probably on our platform, giving away a pronghorn hunt where one of you gets to go to Nevada in August of 2023. And you either do it signing up using promo code Randy, signing up for Go Hunt's website, or you sign up for Outdoor Class using promo code Randy, or you go to the Go Hunt Gear Shop, promo code Randy, and you get all kinds of different levels of entries into the future. So hopefully some of you will act on that before June 30th, because I would love to take one of you and join you on your pronghorn hunt. I don't know if we'll get one. I'm pretty sure we would. Uh, Someone says, "What are dilly bars?" Hold on, time out. Is there anybody in America who doesn't know what a dilly bar is? Huh? They're ice cream on a stick, dipped in either chocolate or dipped in cherry. It's like Dairy Queen's version of a dipped cone, but it's not going to melt on you. So you take them home, put them in the freezer, and eat them all week long. Uh, Soda says, "Hey Randy, taking my 60-year-old dad elk hunting in Wyoming this fall. Woo, good deal. 43rd time in elk camp, and wow, that's amazing. Unfortunately, I think it might be one of his last. Dang it. I hope it's not his last. And if he says, you know what, this is the last time I'm going to do it, I hope that you guys have the time of your life. I hope that you go there and help cooperate and everything goes good." King Buck is asking, "What state do I recommend for a first time for antelope?" Well, before the hard winter kill of this year, I would have said Wyoming, but it's going to be years before Wyoming recovers. So I'm, it's going to be hard now to really think of probably Colorado, New Mexico if you could draw Montana tag, Nevada tag. Right now it's going to be really tough for quite a few years. So hopefully they bounce back. Hopefully we get some moisture. Hopefully we don't get a bad drought and they can bounce back here in a few years. I hope. So um, someone says, "Hey, pull up bag in Nevada, August." That's right. I forgot. They do that in Nevada. People open a rifle season in August. I forgot about that. Hmm. Well, good luck on that hunt. I think those are only available to residents. I don't think non-residents can apply for the depredation. I don't think is what they call them. Jeff says, "For better or worse, I drew Unit 99 elk tag in Wyoming. That's a good fun hunt. Also drew Unit 43 through 45 in the Any thoughts on both? Yeah, you're going to have a good hunt on uh, both those units. And your Nevada pronghorn hunt, don't overlook higher elevation. Those pronghorn is going to be too deep for them. There's some irrigation down low. There's going to be some pronghorn up in the higher elevation. My largest pronghorn I ever shot in Nevada was shot at almost 8,000 feet on a big bench up above everything. So look at your outtag, Unit 99. Pray for that. I think that season ends October 30th. Hopefully, so should have a good hunt. Uh, let's see. Have I hunted elk in the Dixie Zone or Elk City Zone in Idaho? No. Um, wouldn't. I just haven't. So our son says, "Drew an Idaho archery tag this year. Challenge in Utah last summer. My family, their mom. Uh-oh. That's best advice for archery elk. Uh, don't necessarily go the first week of season. Archery elk opens up pretty early in Idaho, and that's tough for hunting. You're likely to run into really hot weather. Really hot weather. The bulls are thermal, so they're not very active. Even the cows are not very active. So I try to go later. If I had any advice, I'd say try to go the last half of September rather than the first half. So good luck on that one. Uh, all right, folks. I was supposed to be somewhere at 7 o'clock, so I told Matt, "Yeah, I'll run this until about 6:40." Well, only about 20 minutes. That's okay. Uh, Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate all the support that you give. If you get a chance, go out, use promo code Randy, and sign up for outdoor class or go hunt Insider and be entered in the pronghorn hunt that ends in 2 days. The sweepstakes, we're going to first week of July. Promo code Randy will get you some interest. In the meantime, if I don't talk to you, happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. Be safe next weekend or this coming weekend and next week. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for all your support. Looking forward to doing a few more of these before hunting season starts. Take care.